So, in yesterday's class, we discussed about, uh, I think we covered these three methods, the methods to prevent the thread execution process, right? Sleep method, join method, yield method we covered, and we try to understand what is the thread priority. So, thread priority will be 1 to 10. So, in thread class, there are three constant variables. So, normal priority, minimum priority, and maximum priority. So, normal priority is a 5, minimum priority is 1, and maximum priority is 10. So the priority range will be from 1 to 10 only. So the thread which is having highest priority, that will get highest chance to get execute first. The thread which is having lowest priority, that will get chance to last, right? So if you are trying to set the thread priority other than 1 to 10, so you will get runtime error saying that illegal argument exception, right? So we'll try to execute that one. See here. So I have a class, so thread class. So in that I have some code. So after that I am creating two objects for my class, T1 and T2. So for one thread I am trying to give the priority as a 10, highest priority. And for second thread I am trying to set the priority more than 10. So actually the range is from 1 to 10 only. So I am crossing the limit and I am trying to set it as 11. So what will happen? So go to command prompt. So try to compile it. My thread.java. So that compilation time. So here I didn't get any error. At the compilation time, I didn't get any error. So when I'm trying to run it, I hope I saved the file. Yeah, my thread, I'm getting error. So that is exception, illegal argument exception. So illegal argument exception at line number 20, right? So in main method, line number 20. So that is you are not supposed to pass 1 to 10. You must pass between 1 to 10 only. You are not supposed to cross it. Suppose if you are giving 0 as a priority, 0. So you will get the same error, runtime error, illegal argument exception, right? The range must be between 1 to 10 only. So you are not supposed to give negative numbers also. So compile the code. So here you are able to give any integer number. While compilation time, you don't get any compile time error. So maybe system is slow. It's taking time to compile. Yeah. So execute it, you will get error. So negative numbers are not allowed. So I hope you got the point. And so that is about thread priority. So if required, you can take this code. So thread priority. So for practicing it, 1 minute. Power failure. I hope disconnected. Someone please confirm. Are you able to see the screen? It's right. So if required, you can take this code. Okay. So this is related to thread priority. Just example only. You don't need to write all these things. That is up to you. So what you will write, that is up to you. Once you understand the code, that is up to you. Next, we will try to understand one more method. So that is the interrupt method, right? So in thread class, there is a method called interrupt method. What is the purpose of interrupt method? Thread priority. Yeah. Check on thread priority.
లేదు సార్ అది థ్రెడ్ ప్రియారిటీ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ అని అట్లా టైప్ చేసి
Okay, right, no problem. Yeah. Right. Now we will try to understand what is this interrupt method. So that is not only example for thread priority. So you can use other examples. Yesterday's class also, right? Right. I'm opening API documentation. Go to that thread class. So search for interrupt method. Yeah, interrupt method is here. So interrupt the thread. So what is the purpose of this method? Interrupts the thread. Interrupting means so disturbing. So uh, suppose one person is sleeping. Suppose somebody came and he is wake up him. That is called interruption. So sleeping interrupt, right? So in olden days, we are using a Doordarshan TV. So sometimes there is a power failure problem. So after the power came, they will tell. So sorry for the interruption, right? So if some work is going on, so if some person is disturbing that work, that is called interrupt, right? So now we will try to understand what is the purpose of this interrupt method, right? Interrupt method. So I'm not writing all these things. So I'm creating only one thread, two threads, priority, all these things are not required here. I'm able to see the screen also, power failure. Okay, no problem. Right. So what I will do, so in this run method, so I will try to use a sleep method. Okay, inside the run method I am trying to apply a sleep method. So how to apply the sleep method? So sleep method is a static method. You can directly call it by using class name dot method name, right? thread dot sleep sleep method. So I am trying to put the thread in sleeping state up to some, suppose 5,000. That means 5 milliseconds. 5,000, give 50,000. Okay, you can take 10,000. Right. So if I can I use directly like this? Sleep method will throw checked exception. So that is a interrupted exception. So we need to handle it by using try catch blocks. One minute. Right. So here I must surround with a try catch blocks. Try block, then catch block. Observe here. After the sleep method, I am printing one statement. Println, how are you? Right. So save the file. Saved it. Just try to execute it. I will reduce the time. So that is 1,000 milliseconds. That means 1 second. So try to compile it. Clear the screen, compile the code, execute the code. After 1 second, it was printed hello. Suppose if I increase the time, to 10,000 seconds, sorry, 10,000 milliseconds, what will happen? So I will try to compile it, try to execute it. Observe after how many seconds hello will be printed. Right, after 10 seconds it was printed. Suppose if this time is more than 10,000 milliseconds, suppose 1 lakh. So in this case, it will wait more time, right? So compile the code, execute the code. So it is taking too much time to print that line, right? Suppose the thread is in waiting state. Suppose if you want to interrupt that thread, now that thread is in waiting state, it is keep on waiting until it will reaches that 1 lakh milliseconds, right? Now in this case, if you want to interrupt this thread, don't wait that much time. If you want to interrupt the thread, then you can apply that method, interrupt method. Okay, so you can apply the interrupt method, so the waiting state will be terminated here. From this state it will come to directly exception state. Okay, so here you can write one more statement. Thread got interrupted. So what I will do, I will try to make the thread to interrupt. So how to make a thread as interrupt? By applying interrupt method, right? So here you can apply interrupt method, t1 dot ente interrupt. So in this case, what will happen after starting the thread? So it will call the run method. So inside the run method, the thread is going to waiting state. So once it is entered into waiting state, it will be in waiting state until the time is completed. So if the time is very big, in that case, so you can interrupt the thread. So you can apply a condition here. So if the thread is in waiting state, then you can call the interrupt method. So if you call the interrupt method, what will happen? So the thread will be terminated from here. That means one time it will be terminated from this. That means from try block it will come to cache block, then remaining part will be executed. So that run method will be completed. Suppose this is a for loop, only one time it will be terminated. Alright. So now observe, that was printed. I'm saving the file.
ఇంటరప్టెడ్ ఉంది సార్.
ఏమైనా మిస్టేక్ చేశానమ్మా? ఇంటరప్టెడ్ స్పెల్లింగ్ మిస్టేక్.
ఇంటరప్టెడ్
INTERRUPTED మిస్టేక్ ఉందా? మెథడ్ నేమ్
ఇంటరప్టే కదా సార్. ఇంటరప్టెడ్
మెథడ్ నేమ్ interrupt only, not interrupted. Right, interrupt. Right. So now try to understand. So before that I will add one more line here saying that the try block is executing. Here also I will add, so catch block. So now try to get the code, compile the program, execute the program. It is not waiting that much time. So in earlier case, if I don't have this interrupt method, if I don't call this interrupt, so in this case observe, the thread is in waiting state only. It is inside the try block, and it is waiting state. It is in waiting state until it will complete that 1 lakh milliseconds. This will be in waiting state only. So if you don't like to wait the thread those many number of milliseconds, if you want to interrupt the execution process, then you can call the interrupt. So that will be based on your business requirement where you need to call this interrupt. So the main thread will interrupt the sub thread. So in this case, who will execute this line? The main thread will execute this line. So what the main thread will do? The main thread will interrupt the child thread. That means in this case t1 thread will be interrupted. So if you want to stop it, you can press Control C. I am pressing Control C, that means forcefully stopping the JVM, right? So now observe, if I will enable this code interrupt method, right? So try to compile it, compile the code. You made the changes, you must compile it, try to execute it. Here you are not waiting here, see inside the try block. So inside the try block, then the thread has to wait. But the thread is entered into waiting state. So by the time the main thread came to this line, so main thread is interrupting the child thread. So that's why it is not waiting that much time. After that, it will go to catch block. That means interrupt is happened. That means the one error. So it came to exception, interrupted error. That is the interrupted exception. It came to this catch block. Catch block is executed. You are getting these two lines from the catch block. Right. Suppose if you are using the for loop here. Suppose if you are using the for loop here. Right. Suppose if you are using a for loop here. So for loop started, for loop ended. Right, observe here. So this for loop will be executed 10 times, but you are not calling the interrupt method 10 times. Okay. So first time the thread will be in waiting state, so that it will be entered into waiting state. So but first time only the main thread will interrupt it. So second time, whenever it is trying to execute the second time, so it won't call again. So first time it will be interpreted. So I'm trying to print the I value here. I value here. Save the program. So compile it. Sorry. Compile the program. Execute it. Here it is in waiting state. So first time it is terminated. First time, 0th time, it is went to catch block, and it was printed this line also. Thread got interrupted from the catch block. So second time for loop is executing. The second time the thread is in waiting state. The second time you are not interrupting it. Right. So first time only you are interrupted. So instead of waiting that much time, so I terminated it. I will reduce the time. Right. So 1000 milliseconds, that is 1 second. So try to compile it. So it won't print to thread 0. So it will print from 1 to 9. See 1, 2. Right. So actually it will print. It won't wait that much time also. Maybe system is little bit slow. So for compilation also it took some time today morning. Right. So if required, I will change the time also. Actually, it has to print within 1 second. Okay, no problem. I will terminate it. Uh, it is printing after 1 second. The problem is I selected the mouse with mouse. I selected it. That's why it was not printed. So if you have doubt, you just execute it one more time. So it will execute within 1 second. Right. So it was not printed 0. So 0th time the thread got interrupted. So actually it is starting from 0. 0 was not printed in the output. 0 was not there. So how are you 1, how are you 2, how are you 9? But how are you 0 is not there. So that means that time the thread got interrupted. So if required, you can practice this also. Right. Next one. So synchronization concept. This is very very important. So exam point of view also this is very important. Synchronization. So thread synchronization, thread communication, both are very important.
Sure.
చెప్పమ్మా.
ఫస్ట్ టైం అది ఫర్ లూప్ తీసుకున్నప్పుడు ట్రై బ్లాక్ వరకు వచ్చి ఆగిపోయింది కదా, సెకండ్ టైం ఎందుకు 9 టైమ్స్ ప్రింట్ అయింది?
సో ఫస్ట్ టైం ట్రై బ్లాక్ ఉంది, ఓకేనా. రైట్. సో ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ తీసుకుంటే ఈ ఫర్ లూప్ దగ్గర ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది. ఏం ప్రాబ్లం? సపోజ్ ఫర్ లూప్ లేదనుకోండి, యూ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ఫర్ లూప్, then what will happen? So first the thread is started, t1 thread is started, t1 thread is started. Consider this is a thread, t1 thread is started, this is main thread, this is already started, main thread, this is main, this is a t1 thread. So t1 thread, so main thread created child thread and main thread started the child thread. Child thread is came to run method, so run method is executing. So inside the run method, so there is a sleep method, so it is waiting, so 1 lakh milliseconds or 10,000 milliseconds, right? So the thread is in waiting state now. So I hope you know the life cycle, thread life cycle. So born state, ready, runnable state, running state, then waiting state. So now the thread is in waiting state. So this thread is in waiting state. What the main thread is doing? Main thread is not sitting ideally. So it is executing the remaining part of the code. So it went to the next line. The next line is, so it is a t1 dot interrupt method. So it is calling the interrupt method on top of t1. So that means what the main thread will do, it will check either t1 is in waiting state or not. First it will check. If it is not in waiting state, it cannot interrupt it. So once the thread is entered into waiting state, then only this main thread can interrupt this. Right. So already t1 thread is in waiting state. So what it will do? So it will stop this execution process. It will stop the execution process at that line. Okay. So the waiting state will be terminated. So from that it will come outside. So why? Because the sleep method is inside the try block. So from try block to it will come to catch block. So one time the process is completed. So if you don't have for loop, here, so from this line, so it will be terminated. The waiting state is terminated. That means it is throwing one exception, right? So that is interrupted exception. So it will come to catch block and the catch block is executed. You are getting the output, right? Suppose these lines of code is executing, keep on executing. So in that case, what will happen? These lines of code is keep on executing. What will happen? So for loop is there. In that case, for loop is there. For loop is there. So in this case, what will happen? So in this case, these statements will be executed 10 times. So 0 to 10, 0 to 9 times. So total 10 times. So what will happen? So first time when I is 0, that time it is trying to execute it. When I is 0, that time first it was entered into waiting state. So once it is entered into waiting state, the main thread makes it interrupt. The main thread makes it interrupt, so it will come to try to cache block and cache block will be printed. So this one time activity is completed. So next time for loop will be executed second time. So second time it is trying to print this line. It was printed and it is in waiting state. So it is entered into waiting state. It was entered in waiting state, but here the main thread is completed this line. So main thread is completed this line at I is 0. 0th time this line is executed, but 1th time this there is no second interrupt. If you call second interrupt here, if you call third interrupt here, by that time the thread is in waiting state, it will interrupt it, right? So what you have to do, you need to call the interrupt method once again. If you call the once again interrupt, so by that time, if the thread is T1 is in waiting state, then it will interrupt it.
సార్
చెప్పమ్మా.
ప్రతి ఒక్కసారి ఇంటరప్ట్ కాల్ చేయాలి సార్, ఒకటేసారి కాల్ చేసే మెథడ్ ఏంటి?
సో ప్రతి ఒక్కసారి కాల్ చేయాలని కదమ్మా, ఒక్కసారి జనరల్ సినారియో తీసుకుంటే సో ఒక్కసారి ఇంటరప్ట్ చేస్తాం థ్రెడ్ని. సో ఇక్కడ జనరల్ సినారియో తీసుకుంటే ఫర్ లూప్ ఉండి 10 టైమ్స్ రిపీట్ అవ్వదు. సో సిచ్యువేషన్ అర్థం కావడం కోసం ఫర్ లూప్ యాడ్ చేశాను. సో ఫర్ లూప్ యాడ్ చేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది, ఎప్పుడైతే ఫస్ట్ వెయిటింగ్ స్టేట్లో ఉందో అప్పుడు మాత్రం ఇంటరప్ట్ చేస్తుంది. సో సెకండ్ టైం వెయిటింగ్ స్టేట్లోకి వచ్చినప్పటికీ సెకండ్ టైం ఆల్రెడీ ఈ లైన్ విల్ బి ఎగ్జిక్యూటెడ్ బై ద మెయిన్ థ్రెడ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఏమైనా స్టేట్మెంట్స్ ఉన్నాయనుకోండి, ఆ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తుంది మెయిన్ థ్రెడ్. ఈ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తుంది. బై దట్ టైమ్ సో థ్రెడ్ మే బి ఎంటర్డ్ ఇంటూ అగైన్ స్లీపింగ్ స్టేట్. సో we don't have code to again interrupt it. If you want, you can write the code. So the code is not there, that's why remaining times it is printing the data. So first time you are able to interrupt it, second time onwards you are not interrupting. If you want to interrupt, you can interrupt, but you need to get the whether the thread is in waiting state or not. So compile the code and execute it, you will get the same. Right. So if you want to interrupt it one more time, you just call this method. If you call the interrupt method one more time, what will happen? So compile the code, execute the code. What is happening? It is printing all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all these things. So why? Because so the thread is here waiting state. How many milliseconds? 1000 milliseconds. So within that 1000 milliseconds, the main thread is executed all these lines. Right here, if you make the thread to wait for 1000 milliseconds, that may be sync, then the remaining threads will be interrupted.
సార్
చెప్పమ్మా.
ఇప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ మెథడ్ కూడా మెయిన్ లోనే ఉంది కదా సార్, మరి స్టార్ట్ ఎందుకు ఎండ్ అవ్వట్లేదు? ఇంటరప్ట్ ఒకసారికి ఎండ్ అయిపోతుంది.
స్టార్ట్ ఎందుకు ఎండ్ అవ్వట్లేదనా? సో అదే థ్రెడ్ లైఫ్ సైకిల్ ప్రాసెస్ ఉంది కదమ్మా. థ్రెడ్ లైఫ్ సైకిల్ ప్రాసెస్లో ఇట్ విల్ స్టార్ట్ అంటే ఏమంటాం, సో స్టార్ట్ మెథడ్, బర్న్ స్టేట్, రెడీ ఆర్ రనబుల్ స్టేట్, రన్నింగ్ స్టేట్, డెడ్ స్టేట్, వెయిటింగ్ స్టేట్. సో థ్రెడ్ లైఫ్ సైకిల్ తీసుకుంటే థ్రెడ్ లైఫ్ సైకిల్లో స్టార్ట్ అండ్ ఓన్లీ వన్ టైమ్ యాక్టివిటీ. సో రిమైనింగ్ యూ కెన్ రిపీట్ ఇట్. ఓకే, యూ కెన్ రిపీట్ ఇట్ హియర్. అర్థమైందా? సో ఫస్ట్ ఇది బార్న్ స్టేటు, రెడీ ఆర్ రనబుల్ స్టేటు, రన్నింగ్ స్టేటు, డెడ్ స్టేట్, ఇది వెయిటింగ్ స్టేట్. సో వెయిటింగ్ స్టేట్లోకి వెళ్ళాలంటే ఎప్పుడు వెళ్తుంది వెయిటింగ్ స్టేట్లోకి ఎప్పుడు వెళ్తుంది? సో ఇఫ్ యూ అప్లై ఆ మెథడ్స్ అప్లై చేస్తే వెయిటింగ్ స్టేట్లోకి వెళ్తుంది. ఆ వెయిటింగ్ స్టేట్లో ఉన్న థ్రెడ్ని డిస్టర్బ్ చేయాలంటే ఎలా డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తాను? ఇంటరప్ట్ మెథడ్ అప్లై చేస్తే ఇది మళ్ళీ ఆటోమేటిక్ ఇక్కడికి వస్తుంది. ఓకేనా? సో వెయిటింగ్ స్టేట్లో ఉన్న థ్రెడ్ మీద ఎన్నిసార్లు అయినా ఇంటరప్ట్ కాల్ చేయొచ్చు. సో ఇట్ విల్ కమ్ టు రెడీ ఆర్ రనబుల్ స్టేట్. బట్ స్టార్టింగ్ స్టేజ్లోకి రాదే. ఒక్కసారి కనుక థ్రెడ్ స్టార్ట్ అయిందంటే ఇట్ వోంట్ కమ్ టు అగైన్ దిస్ స్టేట్. సో ఫ్రమ్ ఇట్ విల్ రిపీట్ కీప్ ఆన్ హియర్, బట్ దిస్ స్టేట్ అండ్ దిస్ స్టేట్ ఈస్ ఓన్లీ వన్ టైమ్ యాక్టివిటీ. అదేనమ్మా క్వశ్చన్?
ఓకే సార్. yes sir.
రైట్. సో ఆ ప్రాసెస్ యూ కెన్ right. If you required, you can take this code, but this for loop and all these things not required. Just for understanding purpose only, I took it. Right. So we'll try to understand the next concept, that is synchronization process. If you want to interrupt the thread, you can use the for loop here also. Like the same code you need to write. We'll try it. Not required, maybe a time waste process. Right. Batch block. Right, for loop this will be executed 10 times. So 10 times you will. So 10 times it is waiting in state. Right. We will try here. So compile the code. So I think I've missed some loop for loop. Compile the code. Execute the code. Now observe here, every time it is interrupting. So in this case, both are matched. Matched means you are using the for loop to interrupt the thread. Okay. So in main method you are using the for loop. So for every 1 second, you are trying to interrupt it. You are trying to check whether it is in waiting state or not. If it is in waiting state, you are trying to interrupt it. So in this case, so here you are using for loop. So this will enter into sleeping state 10 times. So you are trying to make it wake up or interrupt, so 10 times, right? So if both are in sync, so you are able to interrupt it. So here you are able to interrupt main thread 11. Okay, that is okay. So you are unable to interrupt one case. So that is how are you ninth case you are unable to interrupt it. Why? Because by that time the thread is completed the process, right? So if required, you can take it. Not that much required here, right? Any doubts here in this one? In earlier case, you are able to print thread 1, thread 2, thread 3 up to thread 9. Okay. So when you call the interrupt method, it was interrupted only one time. So why it is not interrupting remaining times? Why? Because the main thread is completed this process one time. So remaining times we didn't calling the interrupt method. So if you want to call the interrupt method next times also, so you just use a for loop. You want to interrupt 9 times, right? That's why you just use a for loop. So you keep on repeat it and call the interrupt method by waiting 10,000 milliseconds. So if both are in sync, then the thread will be interrupted. That's why you are getting this result. All are interrupted. So it is going to catch flow. So I hope you got the point, right? So we'll go ahead with the next topic, that is a synchronization, right? Synchronization. So it is connected or yeah, connected, no problem, right? So synchronization means, so first we need to understand what is the drawback of, if you don't have synchronization, what is the drawback. In multi-threading environment, multiple threads are executing. So what is the problem? Suppose thread 1 is here, thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, some thread 4. Four threads are there. So four threads are as part of the same program, and these four threads trying to access some data. Consider this is the data. So all these are threads. So thread 1, T1, T2, T3, T4. So four threads are there. So all are same part of main thread. So what these four threads are trying to do, they are trying to access some other data, some other class data. Okay. So in this class, so there are some static variables or instance variables, something is there, right? So the first thread is trying to update this data. So first thread is trying to update the data, and the second thread also trying to update the data. Third thread, fourth thread, all the threads are trying to access this data and trying to update this data. So if first thread is updated this data, the data may be reflected to second person. So maybe reflected to third and maybe reflected to fourth person. If the fourth person is updated, maybe it will reflect to first person. So that means suppose he updated some data. Suppose bank account is there. So this thread is trying to update the data from here. Suppose consider these are different branches. Okay, this is Hyderabad branch. This is a Hyderabad means Kukatpalli branch, then Pragati Nagar branch, some LB Nagar branch, like that. So all these are different branches of SBI, and this is a server. So consider this is a State Bank server. So all these are branches. So branches means one thread. So first thread, what it is trying to do? It is trying to withdraw the money from this account. It is trying to withdraw the money from this account. So by this time in the account, suppose the amount is 10,000 is there. So 10,000 amount is there. So first this person is verified. So 10,000 amount is there. In the same time, this person also verified. So all are able to see 10,000 amount is there as part of the bank. So with related to one account. So what this guy do? He is trying to withdraw the amount from here. So if he withdraw the amount, so he will update here. Okay. So he is trying to withdraw the amount. He is trying to withdraw the amount of 5,000 rupees. So from this 10,000, he is trying to withdraw 5,000. 5,000. So by this time, so first he verified how much amount is there as part of the bank. So 10,000 is there. So the same time, the third person also is verified how much amount is there. 10,000 is there. So this guy is trying to pick some 9,000 amount from withdraw the amount, right? So one person went to bank and one person went to some ATM, like that, right? He is trying to withdraw amount. He is also trying to withdraw amount. For both of them, it is showing 10,000 balance is there. So if he is trying, he withdraw the amount. So by that time, this will be updated with a 5,000, right? So this one will be updated with 5,000. But before updating the 5,000, second thread is already getting the data. First he verified, he is trying to pick the data. So he is trying to withdraw the amount. He is trying to update the balance. So that is 5,000. So within this time, the third thread is get the chance, and he got the balance is 10,000 there. He is trying to pick the data 9,000. He is trying to withdraw the amount 9,000. So in this case, so for both people, it is showing that 10,000 is available. He is trying to withdraw 5,000. He is trying to withdraw 9,000. So, but the amount is available. By this time, he withdrew, but for it is showing 10,000 is there. So this is called data inconsistency problem. If multiple threads are accessing the same data in the thread environment, if multiple threads are there, so who will get the chance to execute? No one knows. That will be based on the JVM, right? So in this case, so first thread is given the priority to first person, so he is able to see the 10,000 is there. So by this time, he is trying to withdraw 5,000 amount. So within the fraction of second, the JVM is given the priority to the third thread. So third thread also verified 10,000 amount is there. He is trying to withdraw 9,000. So he is trying to withdraw the 9,000. So by this time, the thread is given priority to him. He withdraw 5,000. So remaining 5,000 is there. He didn't updated it. Before updating it, again the thread give the priority to teeth thread. So in this case, so he will withdraw 9,000. So in this case, what will happen? This will be minus 4,000, right? So minus 4,000. So this is called data inconsistency problem. So because of multi-threading environment, so there may be a data inconsistency problem. So consider same examples like a bus reservation system. So when you are logging into some website, if you are trying to book a seat, so two people are trying to book a same seat. So in this case, what will happen? The same seat will be shown to the two people. So seat is available. So once two people are selected the bus seat, then what will happen? So both are trying to book the ticket. So what will happen? So at the time of transaction level, at the time of transaction, that means while booking the ticket in the code as part of the code, first it will collect all the details and it will send to the server. So when it is trying to update that, when it is trying to book the ticket, that time they will apply synchronization concept. That means one person is booking the ticket, other persons are not allowed to book the same ticket. So in that situation, they will apply synchronization. So to overcome the drawbacks of inconsistency problems, so we will use synchronization concept. So data inconsistency problems enduku vastayi? So if multiple threads are there, multiple threads are having same priority, multiple threads are executing, then there may be a data inconsistency problem. So to overcome that problems, so we are using synchronization concept, right? So there is a drawback with the synchronization concept also. What is the drawback? If one person is booking the ticket, second person has to wait in the queue, right? So it will take the time, system time. If the ticket booking code is very lengthy, then the second person has to wait some more time. Not only second person, remaining persons also wait, right? So that is the drawback of a synchronization. So advantage is to overcome the data inconsistency problems, right? So we'll try with one example. Are you able to hear me? Yes. So any doubts? So why we are using synchronization concept?
No, sir.
Huh? You are unable to hear me? రైట్. సో క్వశ్చన్ అమ్మా. సో ఎందుకు సింక్రనైజేషన్ కాన్సెప్ట్ ఎందుకు? పర్పస్ ఏంటి? సింక్రనైజేషన్ కాన్సెప్ట్ పర్పస్ ఏంటి? ఫస్ట్ పర్పస్ ఏంటో తెలియాలి కదా. ఎనీవన్? రైట్. సో డేటా ఇన్కన్సిస్టెన్సీ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ రాకుండా ఉండాలంటే సో సింక్రనైజేషన్ కాన్సెప్ట్ యూజ్ చేస్తాం. అంటే అన్ని చోట్ల డేటా ఇన్కన్సిస్టెన్సీ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ వస్తాయా? అన్ని చోట్ల రాదండి. సో ఇలా మల్టీ థ్రెడింగ్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ ఉన్నప్పుడు వస్తాయి. సో మల్టిపుల్ థ్రెడ్స్ ఆర్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటింగ్ ద if multiple threads are trying to access the same data, so in that case, so which thread will get the chance, so we don't know. If one person is completing the task, then he will complete the task properly, but when the one person is completing the task, second person is coming into the picture, so he will update it. So the first person don't know what he is updating, so that's why data inconsistency problems will be there. So to overcome that data inconsistency problems, so we will apply synchronization concept. If you apply synchronization concept, one thread is executing that synchronized method, so remaining thread has to wait in the queue. Right. So that is the concept. Now we will try to understand with a program. So here you need to understand so many points while writing the code. So we will discuss the so many points. Not only that synchronized method, synchronized block. So we'll try to understand what is this. Right. So for applying the synchronization, we will use a keyword synchronized. Synchronized keyword. Keyword name is synchronized. So keyword synchronized, we will use this keyword only for methods and blocks. Right. So for applying the synchronization, we will use the keyword synchronized keyword. So synchronized keyword we will apply for methods and blocks only. Right. So not for variables and not for classes. So if we define a method as a synchronized method, what will happen? Synchronized method, then what will happen? So in that case, only one thread is allowed to execute it. Only one thread is allowed to execute that synchronized method. Right. Suppose in a class, say example, class ABC is there. So inside this class, what is the meaning of this line? So inside this class, suppose we have two methods. One is M1 method and one is M2 method. So in this case, in this class, you have two methods, M1 and M2 methods. Suppose if you want to access M1 and M2 methods from two threads, suppose you have two threads here. Consider you have two threads T1 and T2. Two threads are there. Both threads want to access. Okay, consider only one method is there. Not required to discuss two methods. Only one method is there. If these two threads want to access this method M1 method, so you can create an object to this class. You can create an object to this class. Based on that object, that means the reference, using that reference, you can call this M1 method. So from where you need to call? From where you need to call? Say, try to understand. Nothing great. See, ABC class is there. ABC class contains one method, M1 method. So I want to access this M1 method from two threads. From two threads. For that purpose, I created one thread class. So in this thread class, I have run method. So from this run method, I need to call this ABC class M1 method. Right. So in this way, I will call it. Right. But when this run method will be called, if I create an object of thread class, if I create an object of thread class, if I start these two threads, observe here. So you created two threads T1 and T2. You are starting T1 thread and T2 thread. So these T1 and T2 threads having same priority. Which thread will get first priority, we don't know. So both will get priorities, same priority is there, so both will be executed. Suppose consider first thread is executing, first thread will come to run method, it will create a object. On top of that object, it is trying to access the M1 method. That means M1 method will be executing by thread 1. T1 is executing M1 method, consider. So suppose this is having so many lines of code. Here M1 method is having suppose 100 lines of code. So first line, second line, third line is executed. By that time, second thread is created. Second thread is getting the chance to execute the run method. So second thread will come here and it will create a new object. It will try to execute the M1 method. So M1 method will be executed, right? So that is the scenario. I hope you are getting the point, right? So what is this line meaning? If we define a method as a synchronized method, now if you define this method as a synchronized method, then what will happen? Only one thread is allowed to execute that synchronized method. That means if you define this method as a synchronized method, if one thread is executing this method, other thread is not allowed to execute the same method once the first thread is completed this process, right? So I hope you are getting the point. So in a class, one method is there. If the method is synchronized method, only one thread is allowed to execute it. First one thread is completed the process, one thread is completed this process, then it will give the chance to second thread to complete it, right? So that is the purpose of synchronized keyword. So the line meaning, if you define a method as a synchronized method, only one thread is allowed to execute it. So remaining thread will get the chance after the first thread is completed. Then what is the advantage of synchronized keyword? Main advantage is, so data inconsistency problems. Right? So to resolve data inconsistency problems, we will use synchronization concept. Right? Then what is the disadvantage of synchronization? So disadvantage of synchronization keyword is, it will increase the waiting time. So that means suppose this method is 1 lakh lines of code. For executing that 1 lakh lines of code, it will take some time. So if one thread is executing 1 lakh lines of code, second thread has to wait until the 1 lakh lines of code is executed. So if you are using the synchronized keyword, what is the drawback, disadvantage? So disadvantage is, so it will increase the waiting time. It will increase the waiting time of the threads. So that what will happen? Automatically the system performance will be low. Right. So in this case, so if there is a special requirement, then only you can go ahead with the synchronized keyword. If you don't have a requirement, so don't use the synchronized keyword. That will affect the system performance. Okay. Where the very less number of lines of code is there, in that case only we will use the synchronized method. So that is a normal general way. To improve the system performance, so we are not suggested to use the synchronized method. If there is a requirement, we must use it. So if you are using it, in which scenario we need to use is very less number of code. In that case, you can use it. Right. Next one. So if you take any class, so all these are points. So if you take any class, suppose one class is there, ABC class, right? So for every class, So if you take a class, so here we have two things. One is object level and class level. Right. So if you take a class, we have two levels. So one is at object level, one is at class level. So object level, there will be a lock. In case of synchronization, object level, there will be a lock, and class level, there will be a lock, right? So every object in Java has a unique lock. So whenever we are using this synchronization keyword, the lock concept will be come into the picture, right? So if you take general, if we take a general a class, it is having two levels. One is object level, one is at class level. I hope you know what is the instance members, what is the static members. So instance members means object level, static members means class level. So whenever we are using synchronization keyword, here instead of using instance members, static members, we are using object level lock and a class level lock. I hope you are getting the point. Whenever we are using the synchronization concept, so we are having two locks. So one is object level lock, one is a class level lock. So I will explain what is the object level lock, class level lock. So if the methods are synchronized methods, so in that case, that is object level. If the methods are synchronized and static, if the methods are synchronized, object level. If the methods are synchronized and static, class level, right? So once again, every object in Java has a unique lock. Every object in Java has a unique lock. So whenever we are using synchronized keyword, then only the locking concept will be come into the picture. Right? So any doubts here up to this? So what is the purpose of synchronization? So to overcome the data inconsistency problems. So where we will use the synchronized keyword? We will use the synchronized keyword only for methods and blocks, not for classes variables. Right. So what is the advantage of synchronized keyword? If we are using the synchronized keyword, then only one thread is allowed to execute the block or method. Remaining thread has to wait until the first thread is completing the task. Right. Then what is the advantage? Data inconsistency problems. Then what is the disadvantage? Remaining thread has to wait until the first thread is completing. First, not only first thread is completed, second thread will get chance. So until the second thread is completed, third thread has to wait. So that means it is increasing the time so that the system performance will be reduced. If there is a requirement, then only we will go ahead with the synchronized keyword. Otherwise, don't use the synchronized keyword. So it will impact the system performance. Right. So next one. So if you want to use the synchronized keyword, so you need to understand this locking concept. So locking concept means, so for every class, so there are two levels. So one is at a object level, one is at a class level. Object level means like a instance members, class level means like a static members. Right. So in this case, object level, we will discuss with the synchronized methods. So in this case, class level, we will discuss with the static synchronized methods. Right. Maybe blocks also, right? So static block and a static synchronized block. Static block means a static synchronized block and a instance synchronized block, right? So for every class there will be a lock. If multiple threads are executing it, suppose T1 thread and T2 thread both are executing the same class method, ABC class contains some method. If T1 thread and T2 thread both want to execute that method, and if the method is synchronized, so try to understand. So it is having a method, M1 method. So both the T1 and the T2 want to execute this M1 method. If this method is synchronized method, what will happen? So if the method is synchronized method, first T1 thread and the T2 thread both has to get the lock of this class. So it has to get the lock of this class. who will get the log first, so they will handle the log. So that means, so in this class, whatever the synchronized methods are there, all the synchronized methods must be available in that person's hand. So once the person is completed that synchronized methods, then he can hand over that log to other person. So I hope you are getting the point. So logging concept will come into the picture whenever you are using the synchronization concept, then only, otherwise no logging. Right. So logging concept will come into the picture whenever we are using synchronizer keyword. Maybe synchronized method or synchronized block. Maybe synchronized static synchronized method or static block. Right. Static synchronized block. So the in that case only logging concept is there. Right. So suppose I have two threads, T1 thread and a T2 thread. So both threads want to execute this M1 method. Not only M1 method, consider it is having one more method, M2 method also. If both threads are M2 synchronized methods, this M1 is synchronized and M2 is synchronized. So two threads wants to execute any of these methods, M1 method or M2 method. So in this case, this class contains one log. So this class contains one log. The log must be picked by any of these one person, T1 or T2. If T1 is pick the log, then T2 has to wait until the T1 person is completed that process. So once the T1 person is having the log, then T2 person has to wait. He is not allowed to execute any synchronized method of this ABC class. If it is a non-synchronized method, then he can execute the non-synchronized method, no problem. The logging concept is applicable only on synchronized methods only. Important, right? If, suppose another method is there, another method is not a synchronized method. Suppose M3 method is there, M3 method is the not synchronized method. So in that case, the logging concept is not applicable for M3 method. So if the log is having with a T1 person, T2 person can execute the M3 method, no problem. But a T2 person is not allowed to execute M1 or M2. So any doubts here? This is very important. Any doubts? Once again, I'm repeating. So if you take any class, the class is having two logs. One is at object level, one is at class level. Object level means synchronized instance method. Synchronized instance method. Class level means static synchronized method or static synchronized block. Right. So object level log and class level log, we are trying to discuss what is the object level log. Suppose in my class I have synchronized methods and non-synchronized methods. So if synchronized methods are there, logging concept will be there. If no synchronized methods, no logging concept. Now I have synchronized method, logging concept is there. Suppose I want to execute two threads on this class, right? So two threads on this class. So first, two threads are there. Two threads are trying to access M1 method. In that case, logging concept will come into the picture. So there will be a object level log. That means both must be having same object. Right? So on top of same object, T1 is trying to access M1 method. On top of same object, T2 is trying to access the same method. So in this case, logging concept will come into the picture. If T1 is getting the log, then T2 must wait until he receive the log. So up to that time, in this ABC class, he is not allowed to execute either M1 method or M2 method. Why? Because both are synchronized methods. The log concept is applied on synchronized methods. But remaining methods, the T2 person can execute it, no problem. So this is the logging concept. Right. But you must apply that method. You must call the methods on same reference, not on different references. Right. So we'll try to understand with one program. I hope you are getting the point here. So what is the class level log? So class level lock means just methods will be there. If the methods are synchronized, so those will be having one lock. If the person who is having the lock, he can execute those methods, synchronized methods. Remaining person has to wait until he get the lock. But the remaining person can execute the remaining methods, that is non-synchronized methods. Right. So we'll try to understand with the program. Then we will discuss what is this class level lock. So all these are very important. Interview point of view, very important. Right. So we'll see with one example. So there are some other points also we'll discuss. So we'll go ahead with one example and we will try with. So first, I want two threads. I'm creating my thread class, right? So I want two threads. That's why I'm creating thread class. So from where I will create the threads? From the main method. For that I am writing one more class, that is a main class. Okay. So I already saved this one. So whatever I will pick new one. Main.java. Right. So inside this main class I have main method. Main method. So in this class I am planning to create two threads. I'm planning to create two threads. Of which class? My thread class. T1 thread. Right. So set the name for thread 1 by using set name method. T1 thread. So create a second thread. T2. T2 dot set name. Name is T2. Right. So I created two threads, T1 and T2. Right. So I will start T1 thread and T2 thread. So both threads are started. If you start the threads, what will happen? It will try to execute the run method. Run method of which class? Your thread class. So in this case, your thread class must contains run method. So inside the run method, so what is your intention? So we are planning to use the synchronized methods. Okay, we are planning to use synchronized methods. Right. So what I will do? So I will create one class. In that class, I will add one method. So I will try to call that method by using these two threads. I hope you are getting the point. So what I will do? I will create one class here. In that class, I will add one method. So that method I will make it as a synchronized, and I will try to call that method from this run method. Right. See, observe here what will happen. So I'm writing a class, some name. Hello Venkat. Right, Venkat class, something, some person you can take any name. Right. So in this class I have a method. You can give some. Right. So method is there. So this method, you can take any method, one method and one method. Right. You can make this method as a synchronized and non-synchronized. We will try to understand what will happen. Right. So this method is there. So inside this method, so generally I will use the for loop and I will try to print some statement. Right. So in this for loop, I'm adding some statement. RINTLN. I'm adding this statement. So I want to print this statement for every 1 second 10 times. So for this I am using that method, thread.sleep method. So all these are up to you. If you want, you can take, otherwise you can leave it. So observe here. So I have one class. In this class I have one method, M1 method. So in this method I have one for loop. The for loop will repeat 10 times. So 10 times I am printing the same statement. Hi Venkat, how are you? So while printing the 10 times, so every time I am waiting 1 second. Right. So for handling that, I am using thread.sleep method surrounding with the try catch blocks. So now what is my intention? I want to start two threads. I want to access this M1 method by both threads. So how to access it? From here I need to access. So from run method I need to access. But I must create only one object. On top of that object I need to access it. Right. So what I will do? I will create one object. For which class? Venkat class. Right. I want only one object. I don't want different objects. Right. So I created object. On top of this object, I want to call M1 method. So if I call M1 method, what will happen? Observe the output. So while printing, I am trying to print which thread is executing. Okay. So I'm printing which thread is executing here. Right. So I hope getting the point. You are getting the point. So nothing great in this. I have three classes. So one is for creating the threads. So one is for creating the threads. So that is thread class. So for this thread class, I will create two threads. So T1 and T2. I gave the names T1 thread, T2 thread. I started both. So these two threads will come to this class and it will try to execute these methods. So it is try to execute this method. Inside the run method, I am calling M1 method. M1 method of which class? V. V means Venkat class. So inside the Venkat class, so I have M1 method. M1 method will be executed by both threads simultaneously. Here the code. So try to compile it. So what is the file name? Main. I think main. Yeah. Main.java. So try to execute it. Right. So which threads are executing? Observe it. First T2, T1 is executing. T2 is executing. T1, T2. T1, T2. It is executing like this. Right. So process is completed. Now, so this method is not a synchronized method. Both the threads are having same priority. Both the threads are having same priority. So that's why both thread you are getting the irregular outputs. Now you just make this method as a synchronized method and observe. Now the synchronized method is applied. So synchronized concept is applied. but you have to apply on top of single object only, not multiple objects. You have to apply on single object only, right? So try to compile the code, try to execute it, right? Both are executing simultaneously. I think we are not upload. So it is creating two objects. The problem is here it is creating two objects. So what I will do, I will try to make it as only one object. So for this, what I will do, I will create. Okay, I created the threads. That time we need to pass same object. So in earlier case, it is creating two objects. That is the problem. I am creating only one object, and I will pass that object when I am creating the. So now observe the output. So I will explain the concept. Don't worry. So clear the screen, compile the code, try to execute it. Now observe, first thread is executing. So second thread is in waiting state. So all are T1 outputs. All are T1 outputs. T1, 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 T1. So once the T1 is completed, second thread is getting chance. Right? So observe here what the changes I made. So actually when you created the object last time, if you are not creating like this, okay, I will comment it. So earlier this code is not there. Right? So it was like this. So in this case, so whenever you have created object, so that time one object is created. Second time also one more object is created. Right? You created threads. So on top of these threads, you are calling the start method. Start method will call run method. So here, so only one object is there. For every thread, one object is there. That is the problem. So what I did, I make this as a single object. Instead of creating two objects, I created make it as a single object. So that is by using this code. So I added one constructor. So whenever I am calling the M1 method, so I am calling based on the thread type. Okay. So here, which thread will call the run method on the same object I am calling it. Right. That's why you are getting the one thread is executing one time. So thread D1. Yeah, you need to pass V and V. Right. So compile the code. Sorry, I didn't compile it. So compile the code, execute the code, right? So your first thread is executing, then it will execute second thread. Okay. So in the evening session, we will try to discuss. So by adding non-synchronized method and one more synchronized method with the M2 method the same way, and M2 method with the non-synchronized method. So with the same
సరే
example,
కోడ్ వాట్సాప్లో పెట్టారా
idamma ఈ code, right?
ఈ కోడ్ సేమ్ కోడ్ సార్ ఇప్పుడు అట్లా మనకు రన్ మెథడ్ పైన ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేసాం కదా
సో రన్ మెథడ్ పైన ఇక్కడ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఎందుకు క్రియేట్ చేయలేదని క్వశ్చన్, రైట్? సో యాక్చువల్లీ
సార్ ఇదంతా కోడ్ రాయకుండా
చెప్పమ్మా.
అక్కడ వెంకట్ వి మైండ్ రాయకపోతే
సో రాయకపోతే ఏమైంది?
ఇక్కడ మెయిన్ మెథడ్ లో ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేసి రన్ మెథడ్ లో కాల్ చేసి పాస్ చేస్తే రాదు సార్.
రైట్. సో యాక్చువల్గా సింక్రనైజేషన్ కాన్సెప్ట్ అప్లై అవ్వాలంటే ఇన్ ద సేమ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్, ఒకే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఉండాలి. ఆ ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ మీద 2 థ్రెడ్స్ వర్క్ చేయాలి. సింక్రనైజేషన్ కాన్సెప్ట్ తెలియాలంటే రైట్, సో సింగిల్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ మీద మల్టిపుల్ థ్రెడ్స్ హ్యాస్ టు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్. సో డిఫరెంట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ఉంటే, అంటే ఇక్కడ V1 ఇంకో ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఇక్కడ క్రియేట్ చేశాను అనుకోండి. సపోజ్ ఇది V, ఇంకో ఆబ్జెక్ట్ V1, ఇది V1, ఇది V2 అనుకోండి. సపోజ్ ఇది V1, ఇది V2 అనుకోండి. అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తున్నాను, వెంకట్ అనే క్లాస్కి V1, వెంకట్ అనే క్లాస్కి V2, ఇవి రెండు ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్. ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ అప్లయింగ్ డిఫరెంట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్, then you will get a irregular output only. So I am trying to compile it. So here you are getting irregular output. So T1, T2, T1, T2. So if you are changing the object, చెప్పమ్మా. చెప్పండి అర్థం కాదు.
సార్ అక్కడ మనము వెంకట్ వి నుంచి దిస్ వరకు కమెంట్ పెట్టండి సార్.
వెంకట్ వి నుంచి రైట్.
ఇప్పుడు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవ్వదా సార్ అంటున్నా సార్. అక్కడ ఒకటి ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేసి మెయిన్ మెథడ్ లో అవి పాస్ చేస్తే ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ కాదా?
సో ఇప్పుడు వి అని కాల్ చేస్తున్నాం కాబట్టి వి అనే రెఫరెన్స్ ఒకటి ఉండాలి. అక్కడ వి అనే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను అనుకోండి, వి అనేది లేకుండా కంపైల్ చేస్తే ఇట్ విల్ త్రో కంపైల్ టైమ్ ఎర్రర్. వాట్ ఈస్ వి? ఐ డోంట్ నో. సో ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు కంపైల్ ఇట్. సో ఐఎమ్ గెటింగ్ ద ఎర్రర్. వాట్ ఈస్ వి? కెనాట్ ఫైండ్ ద సింబల్ వేరియబుల్ వి. సో వేరియబుల్ వి రావాలంటే, అంటే వేరియబుల్ M1 అనే మెథడ్ దేంట్లోది? వెంకట్ అనే క్లాస్లోది కాబట్టి వెంకట్ క్లాస్కి ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలి. సో ఇలా ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేసి ఆ v.m1 అని కాల్ చేస్తే సో కాల్ అయిపోయింది. బట్ యూ విల్ గెట్ ఇర్రెగ్యులర్ అవుట్పుట్. ఇర్రెగ్యులర్ అని మీన్స్ సింక్రనైజేషన్ కాన్సెప్ట్ అప్లై అవ్వదు. Where is the V? So you don't have a constructor, so you are not supposed to pass V here. You don't have constructor. I commented the constructor, right? Sorry. So compile the code, execute the code. You are getting irregular output. That means T1, T2 both are executing simultaneously. Right? Why? Because here you are creating different objects. When the T1 thread is calling run method, it is creating one object. When the T2 thread is calling, it is creating second object. So that is the problem. So we will discuss the same concept in the evening session, no problem. So I will post this code, so you just practice it. So I will make proper changes. One second. I will enable this code. We will discuss the same in the evening session, don't worry. So compile it. So what is the V? I don't know. What is V? It's a V1. So compile the code. Execute the code. The T1 thread is executed. So I'm ending the session. We will discuss in the evening.